Welcome to World Car TV. I'm Scotty Reese, and we are on the road to World Car 2022.
I'm Abigail Bassett, and I'm a U.S. World Car juror. I'm here in rather stormy Los Angeles to drive the new Mercedes-AMG EQS. Now, this is a really special vehicle in that it's AMG's first all-electric. This car puts down 751 horsepower and 752 pound-feet of torque, but that's only for a short period of time. In normal driving conditions, it does 649 horsepower and 700 pound-feet of torque. We're gonna hop in and take a ride and see just how this baby handles. So, one of the first things you'll notice when you get in the new Mercedes-AMG EQS is this giant screen that sits in front of you that goes all the way across the dash. It's literally from in front of me to in front of the passenger. Now the passenger can do a bunch of stuff on that side. On my side, I can change any kind of setup that I have in front of me. I can also change the look of the center screen. So we're gonna get up into the mountains here, and I'm gonna toggle it into Sport Plus. At Sport Plus, you'll notice that the sound gets a little bit more loud, more raucous. And you can choose to drive this vehicle in a number of different settings. There's all of 5 in this AMG-tuned EQS, and it just gives it a little bit more of an interesting driving dynamic. It makes it a little bit more direct feeling in a lot of ways. So the steering will tighten up, the suspension will change, and you'll be able to move through corners a little bit quicker. There are 2 motors mounted to the front and rear axles, and they're specifically designed to stay cool in higher temperature operation. An AMG vehicle, as many of you probably know, is largely geared towards an enthusiast audience. These are folks that like to drive hard, like to go a little quicker, and on occasion like to track their cars. Now AMG has a reputation for making vehicles that are, to understate it, a bit more sporty. And driving a large sedan, a big S-Class based sedan, which is the largest in Mercedes lineup, is a little bit interesting on these windy and slippery roads this morning. Mercedes says that when you run it in race mode, a 0 to 60 time could take as little as 3.5 seconds. Now that's pretty quick. This is an all-wheel drive vehicle, which means that as I'm driving through these curves, the engineering and the technology in the car is recognizing which wheels are slipping and which ones are gripping and pushing more power down towards those wheels. In this car, Mercedes says you can regenerate as much as 300 kilowatts back into that pack, which is a considerable amount when you're trying to get somewhere. Just prolongs the amount of time that you have on the road instead of having to stop and plug in. That's a great feature. What they've done in terms of tuning the brake pedal is made it actually feel much more like a kind of ICE engine brake, meaning it's very linear and relatively reliable as you step on that brake pedal. But then kind of as you get to the end of where that brake pedal goes to the floor, it feels a little strange because they've done this thing where it makes it feel a little bit soft. And so it gives a little bit of strangeness to the car, but I think it's not quite there yet. You know, it's getting there, but it's a little strange. Mercedes says you'll get around 326 miles of range on the AMG EQS. When we got in, that was about what we had, and it looks like the battery is fully charged. Now, charging is pretty simple. If you can find a DC fast charger, you can charge up to 180 additional miles in as little as 19 minutes. That's pretty quick when you're talking about electric charging. If you think about it, a typical gasoline stop, if everybody goes in and uses the restroom and gets some snacks, can take just about that long. So on highway drives, this car has all of the bells and whistles you could possibly want. Everything from lane departure warning to a fantastic cruise control system that is very near what would be considered to be level 2. Now these are all advanced sort of driving systems that help make driving a lot more enjoyable, and they're not meant to be used as sort of self-driving, but you know, on long drives, it's nice to just take a break and let the car kind of do some of the steering for you. So around curves, it will keep the car centered as long as there are 2 lines. And if I'm following a car directly in front of me, it'll keep a nice safe distance based on my speed. It's one of the fantastic features that Mercedes integrates into their vehicles across their lineup. So the AMG EQS is more geared towards the well-heeled buyer. Mercedes hasn't announced what the pricing will look like just yet, but expect it to come out closer to launch date around second quarter.
Thanks, Abigail. What a great story. And it certainly is great to see electric car innovations from Mercedes and others finally hit the market. We will be following that story as well as all the others on the road to World Car 2022. Follow along right here. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow along on social media. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thanks for being with us, and join us next time on World Car TV.